America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. At this time, we would like to call on Mr. President, the President of Florida Atlantic University, President Adam Hassner, for some welcome words.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the delegation. First, let me welcome you and welcome everybody here in attendance to Florida Atlantic University, our Davie campus, one of our 6 campuses from Fort Lauderdale to Fort Pierce. And we appreciate you selecting us to host your first, I believe, delegation meeting of what will be the 2026 legislative session, which will be here sooner than you know. This is my first time presenting to a legislative delegation, having sat in one of these seats as a member of the Broward delegation during my time in the State House of Representatives from 2002 to 2010. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to welcome you and also to present Florida Atlantic's legislative agenda for 2026, because the people in this room have been so supportive of Florida Atlantic's rise, and we have so much momentum right now as a university, and so much of that is because of the support we've received from you in the room and your colleagues. And so just a brief history for your benefit and for others. Just earlier this year, Florida Atlantic was recognized as an R1 top tier research institution. And that was an accolade that we were very proud of. We now have over $100 million of sponsored research across our enterprise in some really innovative and key areas. More recently, we were named one of only 21 universities in the country to be an R1 designation, as well as an opportunity university designation. And if you think about access to higher education and postgraduate earnings, that's what earned us the opportunity designation. And so we're proud to serve the mission of being both impactful in discovery, as well as being impactful as an engine of social mobility for our student population, which I'm sure many of you know, but perhaps not. 35% of our student population are first in their families to go to college, and 40% of our students are low-income, Pell-eligible students. So that opportunity university designation is something else that we're very proud of. Something that you see on your desk in front of you just recently, Washington Monthly ranked us the number 39 best college in the country for tuition and tax dollars, and called us, and I quote, one of the greatest success stories in American higher education. You cannot really go ahead. You can't please. We're proud of all the work we've done. And just last week, it's so new that we don't even have the marketing materials in front of you. But just last week, U.S. News and World Report, for our first time ever in our history, ranked us as one of the top 100 public universities in the entire country. And that's another designation that we're proud of as well. U.S. News also has one other designation. I'm just going to keep standing here if you guys are going to. But one other designation we're very proud of from U.S. News and World Report, and that is that they ranked us number 30 in the country of all universities, private and public, in the area of social mobility. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about our joint mission of being an innovator and also having an impact in changing lives. And so what I would say is that those accolades are not the reason for our success. They are a reflection and a recognition of what we do. And so we don't chase rankings at Florida Atlantic, we chase and pursue results. And so becoming a top 100 public university is not a destination. It's really just the next chapter in our university's short 61-year history. And so we have a lot of energy. We have the vision. And this is where I come to you to ask you to be champions for us, because we need the funding in order for us to continue to rise as a university. And so just briefly, Madam Chair and members of the delegation, our legislative priorities first is the continuation of the funding of our multidisciplinary health services building. This is a building that will help us with training, clinical training and research. Just this past year, the legislature appropriated $10 million, which we're very thankful of. The first $10 million is for planning and development. And so we've already begun that process. And this year we're coming back to the legislature. The building itself is expected to cost in excess of $110 million. A good portion of that will be philanthropic support, but about $80 million of it will be state funded through PICO. And so we're going to come back this year and ask for a bulk of that remaining 70 million, 50 million in PICO funds so that we can move into engineering and construction. And that new building and the vision for it aligns our work with our new ranking and designation as an R1 institution. And it also helps to address the critical shortage of healthcare professionals, doctors and nurses, because this building will help us grow our College of Medicine as well as our College of Nursing while it works alongside our School of Social Work. Our second priority is elevating our status as an opportunity engine. And it's a three-part strategy to recruit, to retain, and to rise. And so we want to attract the best talent in the areas of strategic emphasis: AI, biomedicine, neuroscience, marine science, engineering. And so we're asking for $46.5 million, 39.8 recurring and 6.7 non-recurring. And I don't think I have to tell anybody on the delegation or in the room the challenges that we face in South Florida with the cost of living. Just yesterday, or just earlier, I should say last week, CNBC came out with a ranking that I wasn't too happy about. We are the #2 most expensive college town in the country. And that makes a big challenge for us because it impacts our ability to retain and to recruit great faculty. It impacts our students as well. And so this state funding that we're asking for is critically important for us to continue to rise as a university. Our third priority in the area of education, many of you are familiar with the A.D. Henderson Laboratory School and FAU High. And so last year, the legislature supported $2 million in non-recurring funding for us to open up the center that trains teachers and administrators across the state of Florida. A.D. Henderson and FAU High are blue ribbon schools. They're some of the most highest performing in the state of Florida. And this continued funding will help us to elevate the K-12 model and will ensure statewide progress. So this is funding for A.D. Henderson and FAU High that ultimately benefits all of your colleagues throughout the legislature, throughout the state, because we're going to be training their county teachers and their county administrators at Florida Atlantic. And then finally, our last priority is the recurring funding for the Office of Ocean Economy. So many of you are familiar with it. Representative LaMarca, thank you for your leadership. I know Senator Pizzo as well ensured that Florida Atlantic was going to be the home of the Office of Ocean Economy. We're asking this year for $5.3 million of recurring funding. This past year, we were able to take some of the non-recurring funding that we received to designate it toward the Office of Ocean Economy. We released our first annual report. I hope that all of you got it. If not, we will make sure that you received it. But we're going to need the resources in order to continue the mission of being the home of the Office of Ocean Economy for the state of Florida. And so, Madam Chair, let me just conclude by recognizing that this is a bold agenda and a big ask. but we are perfectly positioned right now to rise as a university. We're ready to accelerate. It's a truly exciting time for Florida Atlantic. And so we're going to continue to move fast. We're going to continue to move with purpose. And I want to thank you, Madam Chair, thank members of the delegation, all of the work that each and every one of you do to help shape Florida Atlantic's future from Fort Lauderdale to Fort Pierce and beyond. And I appreciate having had the opportunity to sit in your chair. I appreciate your commitment to our region and appreciate your leadership. And I just want to thank you all for your support and for what you all do. Go Owls.
Thank you. Don't move so fast, Mr. President. Thank you so much for your hospitality and also for sharing your priorities with us. Your priorities are our priorities. As legislators, we are responsible to ensure that those young minds receive the proper education that they need in order for our state to be fully prepared to meet the challenges ahead. So we appreciate the work that you are doing, and we thank you on behalf of the entire delegation. We are here to work with you and to make sure that you get what you need. A lot of us are in the full budget committee as well. So each and every one of us, we do the best that we can in order for you to get what you need. Thank you again.
Thank you. And on behalf of our 32,000 students, we just want to thank you again for all the work that you do.
And on behalf of the delegation, we would like to present you with a little token of appreciation.
I love it.
I
think I've ever gotten a gift.
You can accept it now.
I can accept it.
It's not over, so you can accept it. Thank you so much. Thank you. We truly
Appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. Welcome everyone to our meeting. Actually, this is a pre-legislative session workshop. It's really for us to come here together as legislators and discuss our priorities, whatever we are working on. And for you to ask also a few questions. We know that we have about two hours ahead of us, 3 hours, but we are going to make sure we keep it. Everybody's going to be timed this afternoon, including every single one of us. What's the problem? Is there a problem?
3 hours?
Yes, that's what we have. We have 2 hours. 2 hours. That's what we have. 2 hours. So we got to make sure we keep everybody on time in order for us to go home, because we know the NOVA staff been here the whole day as well, and ourselves, we've been working the whole day. So let's just go ahead and get started. But before we do that, I would like to take a few minutes to observe a moment of silence for the wife of Senator Smith. As we know, a lot of us have worked with him, and his wife unfortunately passed, Miss Desora Rosier Gill Smith. She passed a few days ago, and the wife of Senator Smith. So I would like for us to observe a moment of silence at this time. Thank you. All right. We are going to go around and start by introducing ourselves and also to talk about some of the bills that we are working on. We know it's early in the process and some of us do not want to discuss the bills that we are working on, but we can go into a general overview of what we really working, introduce ourselves, our district, and also mention some of the bills that we are working on and also some of the appropriation that we might be taking for some of the cities that we represent, and also from some of the constituents or nonprofit organizations who give us some appropriation packages. So I'm going to start with me. My name is Marie Woodson, and I chair the delegation. I represent House District 105, which is part of South Broward County, parts of Hollywood, Pembroke Pines, Miramar, Allendale, West Park, and Pembroke Park. Thank you for being here this evening. I've been in the legislature since 2020, and at this time, I'm working on a few bills, actually. As state representative, we only allowed to file 7 bills. In the Senate, they can file 100, 500, whatever number of bills that they want to file. So we are only allowed to file 7. So out of those 7, I'm currently working on legislation that has to do with healthcare. I have also some safety bills. I'm not going to mention anything except the areas that I'm working on. I have about 12 bills so far, and I only have 7 spots. So I will be going through a process of elimination, and I also have a lot of appropriations that have been submitted, not only by the cities, but also by the nonprofit organization. So if you have any questions for me or it's something you want me to work on, just please let me know. And everyone would have about 2 minutes to introduce themselves and also talk about some of the stuff that they're working on. Thank you. Starting with you.
Starting with me, thank you. Madam Chair, so back on moment of silence, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least share that Desiree Smith was also a very accomplished city manager here in Broward County and a giant in the public service industry, as well as being married to our friend Chris Smith, and she'll be missed greatly. So first I want to share that both my legislative aide and district aide are here. Justin Sasarchik is right here. You'll see him in Tallahassee guarding my door, which is going to be closed a lot more this year. And where is Kiara? Kiara is back there. Kiara is our district aide, and hopefully we'll get up there at some point this year. Both wonderful people. I'm lucky to have them. So for me, as the chair of the Economic Infrastructure Committee, also sitting on Commerce, Ways and Means, and Ted Approps, looking forward to a busy year. I know that we've seen different types of energy being looked at, different types of issues with telecom, the BEAD program, some of the rural broadband, a lot of those things. We're going to start our first committee week off next week with a presentation on that. And then I'm going to take as many of our committee members as would like to go on the road to see some of our port infrastructure and some other things around the state. And from a perspective of what am I filing, I have a sneaking suspicion I'll have the other side of whatever Senator Osgood has in Fort Lauderdale and some other projects throughout Broward County and coastal Broward County. We've had a good year last year. A lot of us as members and going out to the Urban League next in a couple of weeks to bring that check. But the process starts again, and we're asked to make a lot of asks in Tallahassee, which I would tell you that as a Republican from Broward County, it means I need to mind my P's and Q's on both sides of things, both in the legislature and then trying to make sure the governor is good with our projects at the end of it all. It makes for an interesting process, and I'm one of those people that believes that compromise is a art, and it's not a lost art. We should continue to have compromise, and we'll get more with it. And then from a perspective of what am I looking at legislatively, multiple bills in the area of infrastructure, transportation, some in resiliency, and dealing with some of our issues here in South Florida, water issues and other things that we're trying to figure out how to pay for. And then also some consumer protection and business-friendly legislation.
Good evening, everybody. My name is State Representative Hillary Cassell. First and foremost, let me welcome you to the best House district in Broward County, District 101. I would be remiss if I didn't welcome you all here. I'm going to follow suit with Chip and thank my staff as well, both my legislative aide, Stella, in the front row. You will see her with me in Tallahassee. Also, hopefully keeping my door maybe a little more well-managed, lots of appointments, but I'm thankful for her, and my district aide, Connie, who really holds the fort down for our team back here in the district. And you can pretty much see Connie everywhere representing District 101, and she does a great job. So thank you to you both. I think you can expect to see for me, you're always going to see something insurance related, something pro-consumer. That's always where my focus is, having served as an attorney in the property insurance space for over the last, I lose count, 16 or 17 of a 20-year legal career. You'll look for some pro-consumer insurance stuff to make sure we're holding those insurance companies accountable, that we have transparency. I'm honored to serve as the vice chair of the Insurance and Banking Committee, and I'm really looking forward to continuing our conversation that the speaker started this past legislative session, doing an insurance investigative panel and really getting down to better understanding why our insurance rates are where they are, why the marketplace is where it is, and what we can do to continue to look to the future and make sure we don't fall into the same traps that we have in the state of Florida, which is having unreliable, unavailable and unaffordable insurance here in the state. Same thing, I'll be looking in some healthcare insurance related issues, pro-consumer, and potentially the education space. So I'm really looking forward to testing out some new issues this legislative session and bringing home some money. I was fortunate to bring home approximately $48 million to the district last year, and looking forward to doing something similar again. So thank you all.
Thanks.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Mitch Rosenwald, still the newest person here, maybe not for long after another year on the delegation. State representative for District 98, which is all of Oakland Park and good parts of Deerfield Beach, meaning large parts of Deerfield Beach, Pompano, and then parts of smaller parts of Tamarack, Lauderdale Lakes, and Fort Lauderdale. And as a social worker and a faculty member, and it's really great to hear about FAUs becoming an R1. I know what that takes on from the inside. So kudos again to the President Hasner and the board and everyone. I'm going to be looking at some bills on prevention of homelessness. We all know that housing and homelessness are affordable housing, affordability and homelessness are real issues, particularly here in South Florida. I'll be looking at some bills in that space, as well as looking at veterans housing. While veterans do all receive vouchers called HUD-BASH vouchers from the federal government, ensuring that they are properly utilized and there's enough of what's called wraparound services, mental health, concrete resources that will help veterans not just know about housing, but keeping their housing stabilized, because veterans also are obviously at risk of homelessness. Also looking at some behavioral health bills, or at least one bill. Also, that's another bill that's not in my bailiwick normally, but traffic safety. So I'll be taking a look at that. And so that's what I have for that. My committees are Health and Human Services, which a number of us sit on in here, as well as health budget, health professions and programs, and then separately government ops, government operations, and careers and workforce. I want you all to know that, and this was my learning myself as a college professor for so long, the state, and it's a very bipartisan, the state supports our public and private universities, but there's a real push and a bipartisan support for career and technical education. The old term in my day was VOTEC, or vocational, but the new term is the newer term, it's not so new, is career and technical education. How do we help people become HVAC, HVAC service providers, plumbers, but also pilots, or doing building circuits and circuit breakers and things like that. Lastly, for appropriations, I'm open. Actually, I did not introduce Tom Wilmouth, who was my district aide and is now my legislative aide. He's so good, by the way. He was Rep. Bartleman's legislative aide a while back, and so we're so glad to have him. But Tom is taking appropriations, and we're going to continue to take them from our 6 cities, the county, the school board, and any other entity that would like to give it a try. We were successful, not as successful as you, Rep. Cassell, but certainly in my freshman year got some great appropriations for the city of Fort Lauderdale and Oakland Park. So we're here to listen to you all, and thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thanks.
Good afternoon. Is this on? Is this on?
Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Gottlieb. I represent District 102. This is my senior year as a legislator. I don't have my priorities cemented just yet, but I got a lot going on as being the ranking member in both the Judiciary Committee and the Select Committee on Property Taxes. And I think the focus really should be that Select Committee on Property Taxes. I believe that there's a reason that the Speaker added a committee like that. We have a housing affordability issue and crisis. Right now, the pathway towards home ownership in Broward County, you have to be 50 years old or older to afford your first home. That's unacceptable. We've been speaking with numerous groups. We held some boot camps over the summer, trying to figure out certain things such as increasing portability so that elderly fixed income people can move, downsize, and use that affordability to their best interest in finding a new home. Also looking at possibility of not increasing property taxes for somebody under the age of 30 when they move to purchase a new home, so that we can get the younger generation into homes quicker. So we're seeing that, if they're buying a home that has been homesteaded for a number of years, obviously there's going to be an exponential increase when they purchase that home. So, for the most part, I'm going to try to focus on those two committees. They're both very busy, Judiciary and the Select Committee on Property Tax. I have other responsibilities as well. Looking forward to my senior year, hopefully passing some good bills and bringing home some money for the district. Thank you. Also, my legislative aide is here, Linda Siegel in the back, and she's always here, and she's always helped with constituent services if anybody needs her.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Robin Bartleman, and I represent District 103, and I have my aides here, former aide Tom, who I love. I have Darian, this is Darian, and this is Alyssa, my district and my legislative aide, and I'm very happy that they're part of Team Bartleman. In terms of where I represent West Miramar, West Pines, West Davie, West Southwest Ranches, the entire city of Weston, and the area behind Bagel Mania and Sunrise. So that's the only way to explain it. It's like 3 neighborhoods. It's such an odd map. But in terms of my priorities, again, I'm looking at education. Senator Sharif and I filed a bill together again. I'm going to let her cover that. Some healthcare bills. But mostly what I'm going to try to do, and I've already started this, Senator Sharif and I had a town hall meeting last week, is we're trying to educate people on property taxes and what they are and what they mean and what they pay for. Because it's really easy to say, let's get rid of property taxes and not have a plan to replenish those funds. And so we're trying to go over, with the community now. It's going to be like a year-long education because we don't know what's coming out of the committee. We don't know what it's going to look like, but if it ends up on the ballot, there's going to be a very small time frame to educate everybody on what the implications of whatever is on that ballot means. Again, I'm going to continue to fight to protect our public schools and public education. You can have school choice without giving away the public schools and impacting public school students. And I will also be working on protecting teachers and children. I had the measles outbreak in my district at Manatee Bay Elementary, and the calls I got from parents and teachers who were pregnant, and what happened in that community caused some panic. And just the going through, was your kid in CCD with my kid or on the baseball team? The health department having to go through all that. I'm very concerned about just letting, herd immunity go in terms of polio and measles. So that's something I'm going to be very interested in working with the other side on, trying to come up with something common sense, because I'm against what I'm hearing and a bill hasn't been released yet. And then I'm hoping that all of us can work together to come to some sort of common sense place regarding open carry, since it's beyond our control. And I got an email from my city manager today that long guns can now be brought into City Hall because it's a loophole. It's handguns that are prohibited. So I think what we have to do as a delegation is talk to our constituents and figure out where we can get to some common sense places to protect our community, but at the same time knowing that there are differences, but get to a middle ground somehow. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Christine Hunchofsky. I'm the state representative for District 95, which includes Coconut Creek, Parkland, Margate, and portions of Coral Springs. It's hard to believe we're starting again. I'm not sure we ever really stopped since our legislative session went 45 days longer than the normal 60-day session goes. And I know everybody's been working all summer because we've seen each other at events throughout the community, and our committee weeks start already next week, which means we can't start working now for next week. We have to have been working all summer. Some of the things that I'm working on are consistent with things I always work on, whether it's school and community safety, behavioral health. I want to commend FAU on the amazing work they do in the area of social work. As my colleague Rep. Rosenwald mentioned, we are seeing there is more and more need for a behavioral health workforce, and social workers are an important part of that. I have filed the Social Worker Compact for the 3rd year in a row. I want to thank all my House colleagues because it always passes the House. And we are working with the Senate to hopefully convince them that it is really important that we have plenty of social workers and they have reciprocity with other states that have the same standards. Because in the end, when we're talking about a mental health crisis, if we don't have a workforce, then we're not taking it as seriously as we should be. And I'm quite sure there's not a single person in this room who isn't affected by mental health. And I just think we need to do as much as we possibly can while keeping a good standard to make sure that we can give everybody the quality behavioral health care that they need. I will also continue to work on pre-apprenticeship programs. For those of you who aren't aware of Junior Achievement, they're in my district, and the work they do with high school students to get them ready for real jobs when they graduate. It's so special. I go to all their pre-apprenticeship graduations because it just reminds me of all the good things in this world. We all had somebody believe in us when we were younger, believe that we could do things that maybe weren't the straight track that everybody thought we needed to be on. And it's just amazing to see the work they do to let these younger people know that somebody is on their side and that they are going to help them and support them to get a meaningful, well-paid career after high school. And so I will continue to work with them on that. And we have a town hall coming up later in October. If there's anything else we should be focusing on, affordability is important, as Representative Gottlieb mentioned. And there's so much going on in the community. There's so many things. I know it seems super divisive at times when we go on social media and sometimes when we're watching the news, but if we actually talk to real people in the community, you'd be surprised at how many things people are going through together, the same things they're going through together, whether it's affordability, whether it's healthcare issues. And I am committed to working on those things that we are all going through so that we can continue to make this state a wonderful place where we live. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Senator.
Thank you. I am State Senator Dr. Barbara Sharif. My district is 35. I have 8 cities. I share quite a bit of my district with Rep. Bartleman. I have a portion of Hollywood. I have 85% of Miramar. I have all of Pembroke Pines, all of Weston, all of Southwest Branches, Davie Cooper City. And then I have a small portion of Sunrise. And I chair I'm on the Banking and Insurance Committee as vice chair. And I am on general appropriations on ag, environment, and general government, appropriations on the Committee on Health and Human Services, Children and Families and Elder Affairs, the Community Affairs Committee, and then I am on Military and Veterans Affairs, Space and Domestic Security. My legislative aides are here, George Collazo and Sierra Anderson, as well as my chief district legislative aide, Susanna Gouache. She's not here tonight, but you can reach out to our office at any point in time and you'll get one of them as well. For this session, things that I plan on continuing to work on. As you all know, my name is Doctor of Healthcare and Nursing Practice, and I've been in healthcare 34 years. And so I have quite a few healthcare bills to try to fix our broken healthcare system. In addition to healthcare, I have a property insurance bill. I have a bill related to criminal justice, injunctions for victims of repeat domestic violence, so that they can receive a permanent injunction quicker and after the first hearing. I have a bill on blasting limitations to prohibit damages to homes in my area. Also, one of my bills is in relation to the reform of the child abuse investigation program for children with medical diagnoses that may mimic child abuse. This is the bill that I have filed, and Rep. Bartleman has the other bill to that that's in the House. And then finally, I have a few community safety bills. And other than that, I'm looking forward to a lively discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. As you have heard, we have a working legislative body here. Everyone is very busy in Tallahassee and also in the district, working hard to serve you. Before we go to the Q&A section, where we are going to ask you whatever questions that you have for us today, I would like to let you know that I sit in 8 committees as well. I did not mention them earlier. I sit in the Healthcare Budget Committee. I'm the ranking member on that one. The overall Budget Committee, the Health and Human Services Committee, the Joint Legislative Budget Commission, Rules and Ethics, the Select Committee on Property Taxes, which is a very important one right now, as you have heard. But so far, we met last week and we have not come up with anything conclusive yet. But we know certain things are coming down. So it's incumbent upon us to really educate yourself, find out what's going on, so you can contribute to the process as well. And I also sit on the Education Administration Subcommittee and also Insurance and Banking. So we all have a lot in our plates, but we cannot do our job if you don't come and let us know and educate us on some of those things that we need to be educated on. Believe me, none of us here knows it all. We do not know it all. So we need your input and your feedback in order for us to be the best that we can be. So before I move any further, as you know, I always like to introduce my staff, which I did not do from the beginning. So I have my district aide, which is Letitia Clark. Letitia, stand up so they can see you. That's right. This is Letitia Clark. She's my district aide. If you call my office, this is who you will get. And I also have Nadine St. Louis, who is my legislative aide, who goes with me to Tallahassee. Y'all should clap for the aide. Come on. None of us can do the work that we do without our aides. Believe me, no one can do it without your aides, because there's so much that comes to your plate when we are in Tallahassee. So without any further ado, I have some important dates that I would discuss with you after we go to the Q&A session. But right now, anyone who would like to speak, you would have 1 minute, right, Bob? Bob would time you 1 minute to say what you have to say, and we will answer you. Do we have any elected officials in the room, or also anyone who is here representing an office?
Council.
Okay, please stand up to be acknowledged. Thank you for being here. Anybody else? Okay. If we don't have anybody else, I want to take just a quick second to say that our vice chair is celebrating her birthday. This is the reason that Dr. Osgood is not here. So if y'all can send her a shout out and say happy birthday, Vice Chair, I would really appreciate it. Happy birthday, Vice Chair. That's right. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Now we'll go to the Q&A session right now. Anybody would like to have any questions or any issues based on the presentation that was made by all the members? Yes, sir. Go to the mic, sir. Thank you.
My name is Mark Behar. I live at 5141 West Oakland Park Boulevard in Lauderdale Lakes. No one's spoken about the environment, which can't speak up for itself. Lots of people who are advocating for one group or the other, but the environment can't speak up for itself. And it's only as healthy as we keep it. The environment affects every human being. It affects all of us, and its health is dependent on us. I've been involved with the South Florida Water Management District's Advisory Committee over the Everglades decades ago. I've been in Florida since 1970. What I've witnessed recently, 20 acres of cement was put in Big Cypress National Park, ignoring the rule of law. I support the Legal Defense Fund. Whoever, I just sent $100 to some Everglades coalition in memory of my friend Elaine Usherson. But why isn't anyone talking about that? We have the rule of law to defend the environment. The laws are there to defend an entity that can't speak up for itself.
Okay.
So please, please, I'm very disappointed that that wasn't one of your.
All right. Thank you very much for your feedback, sir. Thank you for the feedback, but I will tell you one thing. Every single one of us here support the environment because we do have some of us who are not here who take on bills that have to do with the environment. And I can mention Lindsay Cross, who is one of my colleagues who always take on those bills, and everyone here would support Lindsay Cross on her bill. And if you have a piece of legislation that you think that has to do with the environment that we can take on, I'm pretty sure you can talk to any one of us and see if someone would be willing to take it. But as far as supporting, we all are responsible for Mother Earth, planet Earth. I just want you to know that. I understand that part. We understand that, sir, and not every single person had agreed with whatever had taken place. So I just wanted to know that. Anybody else want to answer? Go
Sure.
ahead.
I mentioned the resiliency work we're doing that we're looking at doing for a bill. And the reason I went to Tallahassee was for the coastal management bill in 2019 that passed to protect our beaches and allow us to invest more state money in those. So your concerns are heard on both sides of the aisle.
Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to also add that for the environmental bills for Everglades restoration and preservation, as well as water quality and purification, we have been working on those things in our committees. And so while that is not something that I have a particular bill for, it's something that we've all supported. So just so you know, environment is never taking a back seat to anything else, but because we handle that every single session. And sorry about the Everglades and what has transpired there, but as Chair Woodson said, we didn't support that.
Thank you. Well,
We got to go out and vote. Well, not just speaking up, but words are great. But when you go to the ballot box and you check off the boxes, you have to be mindful of the people that you elect in the office, right? So if we get elected and we're fighting a group of people that don't believe in the same thing that you and I believe in, then our job has to begin at the ballot box, not after the ballot box.
thank you. Anybody else? All right. Any other questions? Okay. You keeping track of them, right, Bob?
Just go in
I
line.
can't-
Just go in line.
He's keeping track of them and we'll call them one by one.
Why don't they line?
Yeah. All right, can we do a line, please? Maybe 3 at a time, just 3 at a time.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, 3 at
Oh,
a
the
time.
line.
Thank you, thank you. All right,
Hi, I'm Nancy Fry, 5341 Flamingo Place, Coconut Creek. And as you can tell by my shirt, I'm here today to talk about our public schools and specifically how we are using our taxpayer money as public money on our public institutions and how we are going to have oversight and transparency on how our tax dollars are being spent. In the last fiscal year, Florida spent an estimated $3.9 billion on private education vouchers. That's up $0.7 billion from the previous year and the projections for next fiscal year are going to be up to $5 billion. Again, of our taxpayer money, not going to a public institution. Those are institutions that lack accountability, that lack, oh, I'm seeing hand signals. All right. And a lot of that money is going to serve as coupons for current private school students. 69% of new voucher students were already in private schools. Additionally, we have co-location and conversion charters that are siphoning public money further, while our public schools are still outperforming them, or still outperforming charter schools, while the charter schools lack the stability and accountability that our kids deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody wants to speak on that? Go ahead.
Yes, as you know, I'm a huge advocate for public education. And I do believe that in the next couple years that the environment will be ripe for creating some sort of accountability for those voucher schools. Because right now they don't have to have degree teachers. There's no curriculum oversight. There's no testing. And more importantly, the homeschooling has very little guardrails. 8,400 students use their vouchers for Disney season passes. So I think that there are opportunities, and I think the legislature sees that there is going to be a need for more oversight in that area. This is the first time ever that since I've been fighting, and I was on the school board for 16 years for public education, that I actually see dollars being taken away from public school students. With the recent Hope School expansion, that charter expansion, the provider gets to go into the building rent-free, pay no fees, and the custodians, the cafeteria staff, and everything will be funded by the FTE from the public school students, because there is absolutely no fee for coexisting in that school. So when you think about that, 400 kids, a portion of their FTE is paying for electricity, for the custodians, which are usually hired by FTE. They're going to be paying for the charter school students to coexist in their building, where the charter school students are going to be whole with their FTEs. So that's going to have to be something that's looked at, because that impacts all public schools. Also, Senator Jones and I are hoping once again to move our IEP bill. I need to remind parents of students with disabilities that when you do take a voucher, you sign away your FAPE, which is your free and appropriate public school education, which means everything in your IEP you are no longer entitled to. So if you fought for a behavior therapist, if you fought for a speech therapist or language therapy, you gave away all those rights when you took that voucher. Now, high quality private schools will let you know that we're not going to give you that, or we are, but they don't have to. So many students leave the public school, go to the private school, and then find out they're not getting any of those services, and they're told to use their health insurance. So our bill was just a transparency bill that said, let parents know what you're providing. That's all you have to do. You're going to get speech, just let them know. They still may choose you. That's okay. Just be upfront. And so we made it all the way to the Senate floor, and it stopped in the third committee in the House. So we're trying to get that. It's kind of just like a consumer protection, truth in advertising, not taking away choice, just letting the consumers know what they're getting when they move their children. So I will continue to fight, and please stand up and fight, because 80% of the parents in Florida are still choosing public schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Rep. Bartleman.
Okay.
This is a formal setting. And thank you, Ms. Fry, for your comments, actually. And I agree with Rep. Bartleman about accountability. Accountability is major when it comes to the voucher program. And don't get me wrong, some parents might need to have a choice. I understand that. But it's the fact that we are giving money to everybody, no matter what the income level is, because some people do not need this money. That money can be used for our public school system. So this is an issue that we are really fighting, and we need y'all also to come in and voice your opinion about the issue. So thank you. Anybody else want to take on that? Okay, if not, next.
I will. Just
Okay, go ahead.
from a public school kid that went to school here in Broward County. I think we had a lot of conversations about that. And when we intimate that people who pay their property taxes, and we know our property taxes are quite high in Broward County, when we have people that are paying those property taxes and they can make that decision where they want to go. It doesn't really matter what the income level of someone is. Everyone is guaranteed an education. And if we decided that the parents should have choice, and it's, look, I agree with part of what Representative Bartleman said, that some of those particular programs are not at Catholic school, Jewish school, charter school. They're better at a traditional public school. But I mean, look, we had a long conversation about this issue. And I think we had people on all sides of every part of our delegation that had things to say about it. And, I don't have kids. If I did, I would make a decision on where that child's going to go. Would probably go to a Catholic school, because that's where I am. But my point is that voucher is just as much that Senator Sharif could use, or somebody who can't afford school can use.
And I would tell you why.
I just want to make sure that was on the record. That's all.
I would tell you why my comment is such. I went to an event where someone was a millionaire, and they came to me and told me, "Where's my money?" And I said, "What money you talking about?" He said, "The voucher money." He said, "I don't need it, but you are giving it, I'm taking it." So this is why
Understood.
my comment is such.
I would end with this. Our good Senator Osgood taught me something a while back at a Village Square event. We were talking about school choice or not school choice. He said, "I have 3 sons. One went to Fort Lauderdale High School, public. One went to Westminster, Christian, and one went to St. Thomas, Catholic." So she made those choices.
And mine went and I paid for it, but I feel I deserve that money. We should invest more in our public school system, because every child deserves to have a good public education. If we take in from one side, we need to make sure that they have the resources that they need. So that's the point. All right, go ahead, Rep. Honchowski.
Thank you, Chair Woodson. Sorry. Just to add on to that, there's been an issue with the implementation of the voucher program. There are about 22,000 students' accounts right now that are frozen because there was a miscounting of which school they were in. I have several constituents who are not getting this money that they're supposed to be getting because it has there were mix-ups on where students were. All the money is gone, so they need a legislative budget adjustment in order to fund the program. That will not be happening until they get their numbers right. So we have many people who are caught in the crossfire of a program that has had some bumps along the way in its implementation.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, next. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Michael McKenzie. I'm a board-certified primary care physician. I work over at Hallandale Medical Center. My address is 716 Southwest 7th Terrace in Hallandale Beach. I more have a comment or a resource that I want to share with all the people here. The American Academy of Family Physicians, and I shared it with Representative Woodson previously. The American Academy of Family Physicians has a navigator website where you put in your zip code, and based on your zip code, it lists all categories of resources that you can take advantage of, whether it be healthcare, food, money, housing, and things like that. So if you were to go to the website navigator.aafp.org, and then on that website, you put in your zip code, and then you'll get a whole category of listings of different categories of community resources you can take advantage of. So I think that's a pretty valuable resources to share with your constituents. Because no matter what zip code they reside in, there's resources for them available. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Catherine Rincon. I'm a licensed mental health counselor here in Broward, Pembroke Pines resident and a small business owner. I'm here on behalf of my clients and extended family, many of whom are legal immigrants, longtime residents, and people who want nothing more than to live, work, and raise family in safety and dignity. As a counselor, I sit with people every day who are overwhelmed. Communities that once felt safe here are now watching their rights and opportunities narrow. People are shaken by the fact that detention centers like the one near our Everglades even exist, despite the damage to the wildlife and the use of the tax money meant for victims of disasters. As a counselor, counselor, I believe values are not partisan. Safety, fairness, dignity, family, and representation, these are all human values. But when power is used to criminalize compassion or undermine constitutional rights, it impacts your constituents. Floridians are blocked from voting because of the size of their bank accounts. People lose faith in democracy. And these are not abstract issues for me. I believe that despite politics and federal noise, that you as our representatives have a duty to sustain our community for the people that are proud to live here. So here's your question. What can I tell people about what you're doing to protect the systems they once trusted and to ensure that all of us, regardless of background, can thrive here in Broward? And that's the end of for me.
Great question. Who wants to answer that question in the panel?
Was part of your question about the undocumented
Actually, it's really the legal residents
legal?
that are being targeted, their communities, it's shaking a lot. And a lot of them have been here for a long, long time. And they have children here. And, it's just about their rights as citizens, but, their rights towards healthcare, even LGBTQ parents and families, just their rights shrinking under federal mandates. I just wanted to know what you guys had to say and what I could tell them. Because I know you guys represent us, and I'm a proud voter of Dr. Sharif.
All right.
Do you want to take it? or
Anybody,
you-
if nobody wants to
No,
answer it,
no.
I'll take it as an immigrant. Go ahead.
No, I was going to take it, but I heard.
Yeah,
Rep.
I'll just,
Rep. Rosenwald.
I'll just respond. We were talking about legal, so, I'm on record. Some of us voted for and some against at this table for the immigration bill that passed in Florida. I think all of us at the table, well, I'll speak for me, and I think most of us, if someone, if someone who's undocumented, I'm just doing that part right now, has certainly murdered someone or sexually assaulted, as a Democrat, I'm fine for them as long as we know that to be ejected from the country. There's no daylight there. But I think it was such an overreach in our special session, the several special sessions for the whole immigration and the hundreds, millions, I forget how many millions of dollars that our government is spending when we have these affordability issues that we're talking about. I will just say, and so the sweep federally does sweep up legal immigrants too, and there is a racial profiling piece to that. I've been profiled myself, not here, but in Philadelphia at one point. I just want to speak because I have the forum here on the undocumented piece. I did write 4 times. I reached out to the legislative aide who responded to me, the legislative director at the Department of Emergency Management, which the governor tasked with immigration. And of course, several of my colleagues here, I was not able to go, went to Alligator or to the detention center in Collier County. I asked about how is it going to be funded? How is it going to be administered? And is there a detainee handbook? I even looked online. There's a pretty decent handbook that ICE has for their detainees. So I asked the Office of Emergency Management 4 times a few months ago and about these questions, and it's been crickets. So, but on the broader piece to you, yes. How do you know if someone's legal or not, right? How do you know? And what we do see is an increase in racial profiling. So immigration is a federal issue. We have wonderful officers in city and county and state entities and our men and women in blue, but they should not be spending their time on immigration issues. That's what we have federal agents for and lots of money, an increase in that. We need our state troopers and our city officers to spend the time for those local matters. But I hear you on that. I think I just answered part of your question in terms of immigration, but I wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you for acknowledging it.
I'm ready. You ready? Okay. So first of all, let me just start by saying that in the state Senate, we fought against multiple bills during our special session that was in relation to children of undocumented people that have come here. First, we fought against tuition, in-state tuition waivers being taken away. We fought against the cost of the hourly or the per class, per session fee for children of undocumented immigrants, where they were taking away their ability to finish their school. That bill passed despite all of our efforts to fight against that, because we know that when they implement that, that means that wherever that child is in their educational process, that it is going to stop. And if you can't afford to pay one time the rate, you can't afford to pay 3 times the rate. And so for us, that was like cutting off their ability to have a future, a productive future, and be productive citizens of this society. And we fought very hard against that, but unfortunately that passed. We are not in the majority. And while we had colleagues that crossed the aisle on some of these things, it wasn't enough to stop it. The second thing that we had multiple bills that we considered profiling bills. Some of them were bills that you were caught holding your cell phone in your hand, that a police officer could stop you, and that would be cause for a ticket, but also other things. We felt like that would be opening up the Pandora's box for profiling. So we fought against that bill. We spoke out against immigration laws that would punish immigrants more harshly than others. And what I mean by that is if you commit a crime in the state of Florida and it's considered a misdemeanor or a felony, there were bills that were being presented that would make the punishment more harsh for an immigrant for the same crimes that we were punishing people that were American citizens that were committing those crimes. And while that sounds good to some people on the surface, it's still a violation of people's rights. Because if you're here, you have rights. It doesn't matter if you came here illegally, you have rights. And so I just wanted to say from a state Senate perspective and from my perspective as your representative, I know that I have a large amount of people that have come here as immigrants, but I do firmly believe that they contribute to the fabric of the state of Florida and contribute to our quality of life here in the state of Florida, and they deserve to be treated just as everyone else is. And so from our perspective, that's where we're at in the Senate. As far as LGBTQ rights, again, that didn't really come up very much in the Florida Senate, but I can tell you we had only one bill that had any inference. Yeah, well, yeah, okay, stupid.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can call it that. I call it that too. It was a stupid bill. And that's fine. I'm good with that term. In regards to whether you could display a pride flag or whether or not a city or a county program could have a diversity, equity, and inclusion portion. And it took a lot of talking and pushing, but 2 of those bills failed. And it was about cutting out the ability of counties to offer programs that enhanced the ability of a small business on the back of whether it was a woman-owned business, a Hispanic-owned business, a Black-owned business. It prohibited them from using diversity, equity, and inclusion as a factor in awarding contracts, grants, et cetera. And so we fought against that as well. And so if you want to know what we're doing on our side, we're doing the very best we can to make sure that your voices are heard. And I want you to know that every single one of you count, every vote counts, every person counts. And in my district, every single day when I wake up, I'm fighting for 600 and some odd thousand of you, and I'm going to continue to do that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And as an immigrant myself from Haiti, I would be remiss if I did not say anything about the question that you just asked. We know that immigration is a federal issue, but now we're seeing that it's a state issue, it's a county issue, it's all over without any due process, which we know everybody is entitled to due process, but that's not what we're seeing right now.
No.
And it's wrong. It's not fair to anyone because a lot of us who are talking about those things or doing things to hurt immigrants, we are immigrants ourselves, and it is wrong.
Or married.
I don't care how you look at it, it is wrong. And a lot of us do not stand for that. A lot of us do not. That's one thing that I would say. I don't stand for that. Any type of those bills, I'm against them, and I do not vote for them. The DACA kids, they were brought here to no fault of their own. Just put yourself in those kids' position. They are here. They trying to make a better life for themselves. They can't afford to pay. Now we're putting it 3 times what they have to pay. So what's going to happen to them? It is not fair. It is not right. And when it comes to LGBTQ+, I'm going to make it quick because I see 3 other people waiting online. When it comes to the LGBTQ+ issue, I don't care who you are. You should be able to love who you want to love. And this is nobody's business. It should be your own business. And we should not treat anybody any different because of who they choose to love. We should not. I tell people, if it's a family of my own, I would dare you to treat them any different. Therefore, I should not treat anybody else any different. And that's my take on that. So I don't know if I answer your question. I also had a bill for immigrants as well. This past legislative session, it's really for people who are taking advantage of immigrants. So they would be penalized now if they do that, taking money, acting like they lawyers and they not lawyers. So that bill was introduced and passed as well. Thank you. All right, next person.
Good afternoon. My name is Dariel Gomez. I live at 1912 North 38th Avenue, Hollywood, Florida, in your district, Representative Woodson. I actually came as well to speak about the issue with the cruelly named Alligator Alcatraz Detention Center, but since it was already spoken, I want to just give a little bit more of context. Just in the last 5 days, the Miami Herald reported that over 800 individuals disappeared after being transferred out of the detention center. Those are 800 brothers, sisters, mothers and fathers, and our community members. The Supreme Court just ruled in favor of racial profiling, and 1 in 3 of us in Broward County are Hispanic or Latino. This is a state-run facility, as you mentioned, by the Florida Department of Emergency Management, using taxpayer dollars that would otherwise go into hurricane and flooding relief, which we know all too well in Broward County. So all in all, this is a Broward County problem just as much as a national problem. So I would like to ask you all to conduct legislative oversight visits of the Everglades Detention Center, and also join the coalition by Representative Escamani, calling Governor DeSantis to end the emergency order that allowed this place to be funded by disaster relief taxpayer dollars in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. You want to answer? Okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
I know Rep. Woodson and I went to visit.
We did.
Panchowski, you went as well. So we all did go and visit. The way the law works, it's in the purview of the governor to use those dollars. It's something that we could look for in the future. Changing his ability, the future governor's ability to use that. So that's something maybe the legislature needs to look at in terms of oversight and balance of power. But people are saying, you know, I just want to be clear that whether you're Republican or Democrat, we didn't know about Alligator Alcatraz. I don't think any of us knew about it. It was a brainchild of the governor. So I would stress that you appeal to the executive branch of the government who used the power to do that. But we did do the oversight. And I know people are missing. I know people in my district, there is a website once they're picked up because they call my office and we direct them to the website so they can find at least where their family member is placed. But it's out of, I mean, many of us fought for changes in the immigration bill, and it's all in the purview at this point of the executive branches, even the president at this point in Congress. So we just have to keep, you know, making the voices heard as to what we want to see happen and make sure that everyone's treated with dignity.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Donna Green. My address is 526 North Rainbow Drive in Hollywood, Florida. And I'm here to add my voice to the public school issue regarding the charters going into the facilities that we currently have for our public school students. It is such an unfair advantage to give to the private entities that are charters. Because up until now, a charter had to either rent or build a facility, run it independently, and schools are very expensive. If you give a charter school permission to go into a public school using all of those benefits built by our public tax money and give them the red carpet to take it over without any of the economic security, landscaping, paint, roof repair, plumbing, all of those things that go into running a school, they will have such an unfair advantage with none of the responsibility. So I'd like to just add my voice to saying, please, if you have any way to add your voice against giving away our public schools to the private entities that are charters, please vote no. It's going to destroy public education. So please, stick up for our public school students. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just
ahead.
want to comment that that bill was killed during regular session and it died in the Senate. And it was brought back in proviso language. And there's some
Yeah.
really good articles about the history of that bill and the history of the provider. So that language has to be brought back because proviso language in the budget is only annual. So I think it's like the public school parents and the public schools really need to, because it died. No, the Senate was not taking it. No, people did not want it. Because I think the bigger issue is that if I can't argue, and I even said this on the floor, if you're going into a school that's a failing school and the public school isn't performing, and they've done this year after year, and you're a charter school, which is a public school, okay. But this is where they can go into an A school that has space. And as a former administrator, that creates a nightmare because you're disrupting the campus. You're disrupting the schedule. And again, the point that's most important is all the public school parents are paying for the facilities for those charter school kids who have the fully funded FTE. And just on an administrative level, you may have, for instance, people don't know this, but you can only put K1 on the first floor. So one year you may have 10 K1, another year you may have 5. But now if you have some private provider coming in, how does that work? It gives the public school no flexibility. And we want high performing public schools. And if you're an A school, how can you allow someone to go in and disrupt that whole campus? And by the way, they passed a law this year that gave charter schools the permission to not use the public school code of student conduct. So that's a really big deal. Like people don't think that's a big deal, but they can go in right now. Special ed students can be asked to leave a charter school if they can't meet their needs. And think about if they're going to create a utopia in their schools based on that code of conduct, because public schools are for everybody.
Okay.
And so I just hope that you guys will have your voices heard, because I think that it has to come back and we can make it fair. That's all I want, is some sense of fairness, because charter schools are those public schools, but it has to be fair and it can't be on the backs of every other kid in that school.
We heard you loud and clear, ma'am. Thank you. All right, next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lorna Osborne. I'm here to represent Comfort Care Nursing Professionals, which is a nurse registry, and also Ocean One Home Health Agency, which is a certified Medicare accredited by CHAP. We do skilled nursing, care, and etc. Now, we're having a big issue right now. Coming September 30th, last year, the law was passed that the aid minimum wages should go up to $15 an hour. However, we are a provider for many, many health plans, which the health plan, we only get, they have different rates. The highest rate we're getting from a health plan is $22 an hour. Now, if we are to pay, right now, the aid they're getting $14 an hour, we have to give them another $1, which left us with only $1.50 because we only make $2.50 an hour. So if we're gonna give another $1, we're only gonna left with $1.50 out of $2.50. Now, how can we continue with all that overhead expenses that we have. That's number one. Number two, the home health agency are going through a lot of turmoil right now. Reason being because in order for us to become a 5-star, the bigger institution, they're stopping us from getting patients from the bigger institution. I cannot call any names. So if they're stopping us from getting patient, how are we going to be able to become a 5-star? 3 weeks ago, we had our survey. They found no deficiency, but they were amazed to see that we are in compliance and we're not a 5-star. Now, last week I was at the institution. I was told that only the agency that are rated 5-star can allow to be referred to patients. No, that is unfair. And my understanding that was an order from ACA.
Okay.
I'm asking right now, I'm asking every legislator, every state representative, please support our bill.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we know you brought this issue to our attention before. And I want you to know during this past legislative session, Sean Schwinghammer, who owns another healthcare place, was in Tallahassee working on this issue very hard. Unfortunately, we didn't get it to where it needed to be. There's no way you can operate with $1.50 just for operation. No way that you can do that. And I commend the work that you're doing, especially when you pass your audit. So we will continue to work on that. And I know the speaker was very amenable to do something about it. They had several meetings with him. So we will go back to Tallahassee and try our best and do the best that we can in order to bring this issue.
Thank you very much.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. Next.
Hello, good evening, members of the Broward Legislative Delegation. My name is Spencer, and I live at 500 North Andrews Avenue in downtown Fort Lauderdale. I also happen to serve on the City of Fort Lauderdale Sustainability Advisory Board. Most recently, the board discussed flood prevention and mitigation. What types of developments can your constituents look forward to with regard to flood resilience, seawall improvements, and other water-related issues in our state? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Spencer, thanks for coming and asking that question. I think what we've seen, especially with cities like Fort Lauderdale, where we have a lot of density in downtown areas and other older cities, that cities are doing their best with a lot of these changes to accommodate where weather is going and where the water is going. Seawalls are one issue, stormwater drainage, other things like that. The city, I believe they put a $1.6 billion plan out that they're trying to escalate from 17 years down to 10 years. And that's just stormwater drainage in Fort Lauderdale. Broward County's number, I believe, was like $28 billion with a B. So my thought, and a lot of the industry around infrastructure, is that we've got to figure out ways to get private investment into some of these projects to get them done quicker. Public-private partnerships might be one way. Other types of investment. You saw the city of Fort Lauderdale, in order to finally get their water treatment plant, their new water plant built, they did a P3. So I think what you bring up is a critical issue if we're going to have as many people living downtown and in our downtowns up and down the coast. And it's something I think we're going to have a conversation about it. I'm certainly interested in doing that. So thank you for bringing it.
Anybody else? And as we know, Broward County, we have a major flooding issue. So just my city of Hollywood, they need about $500 million to address the flooding issue, just in Hollywood. So it's just like a Representative Lamarca just said, it has to be the state is not really finding the money or doesn't have the money to address the entire issue. It's going to take city, state, and also private partnership. But we definitely looking at the problem. I live in Hollywood, and to me, this is something that we should not, have to deal with every time it stops raining, then flooding all over. So point well taken. We will continue to work on it. Go ahead, Representative Honchas.
Thank you, Chair Woodson. And just to add that whole Resilient Florida grant program for smaller cities, mid-sized cities as well, because a lot of cities in the state are not large enough that they have the support they need in order to do proper planning, Regarding resilience, one thing is to make sure that that program continues to be funded to help our cities throughout the state.
If I could just add to that, during session and during our extended session, we all fought for our cities to bring home appropriations to help with the flooding. I believe I was on with Bartleman, Gottlieb, Cassell, for appropriations related to funding things in our district that related to the flooding. And so we have been laser focused on that. However, we did have tens of millions of dollars that didn't get through the governor's veto pen, and we are going back again for that money this session. And as you know, it's not an overnight fix. It's very costly to fix flooding issues. But just so that you know, when session is over, we continue to fight for dollars for each of our cities to solve these issues. And environment, water quality, flooding, that's never something that goes off the radar. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
I'm Steve Moyer. I live at 5805 Southwest 87th Way in Cooper City. And I'm here to thank all the House members for voting in favor of House Bill 257 last session, cameras in classrooms. These are for students that are typically without a voice, nonverbal. Things happen in these classrooms that unless there's a camera there to see what goes on, we would never know. There were a 3-year pilot program in Broward. Just make this a uniquely Broward situation. There were a 3-year pilot program. Approximately 90 cameras per year were installed in the 1,100 available classrooms that qualified. During that period of time, there were 25 parents that requested to view video. There were 6 investigations, and 4 of those incidents resulted in action by the district, probationary action by the district against somebody who had taken some kind of action against a student. Now that's 8% of the cameras, 8% of the available classrooms that were eligible had cameras. Imagine what it would be. I'm not going to stop because of you. It was never heard in the Senate. So we'd like to have support again. Representative Chambliss and Tremont will be carrying the bill again. Senator Calatiud will be carrying it in the Senate, and it never got heard in Senate last year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We heard you.
We did.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, I got you. Next.
Give it to me.
Evening. I'm sorry, shorty, sorry. Evening, everyone. I'm a little tardy, came from Palm Beach. I'm very passionate about children, especially children in foster care. I know that Broward County is one of those counties in Palm Beach, in the state of Florida, that has high removal. So has there been any discussions or considerations with passing a bill where all children coming into foster care can have legal representation?
Thank you, ma'am. I want you to know that this past legislative session, that I, with one of my other colleagues, Representative Rizzo, we passed a bill for kids who are aging out of the foster care system. That's one. And 2 years ago, I passed another bill for kids who are aging out of the foster care system, where the state would prioritize housing for those who are in college. So this is an issue that I'm very passionate about. I used to work in the juvenile court way back, and from that time, I made a commitment to myself that I would always support those kids. If I have an opportunity to do something, they would be one of my priorities, and they've been my priorities since. So thank you. Anybody else?
Yes. I believe you asked if we had thought about representation for kids in the foster care system, or was it
Yes.
aging out of the foster care system?
Both.
Either way,
Both.
in or out?
It's both.
Okay, perfect.
Both.
I want you to get with my district aide and give him your information, and I'll get some information over to you, and you can see if that is sufficient for what you're trying to address. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Last but not least.
I was going to say that.
Hi, I'm Irie Diaz. I'm the CEO for the Advocacy Network on Disabilities. And I live at 5015 Van Buren Street. In Representative Woodson's district, and our office is in Representative Ronstwald's district. I've been talking to Tom about meeting with you, social worker to social worker. The state of Florida spends less than $1 for every $1,000 that it brings in on people with disabilities. There are 22,000 people waiting on the APD waiting list to get services, community services, to keep those people living in their homes with the people that care about them. Hopefully you'll do something. There are so many heartbreaking issues that I could talk about, but I'm only going to talk about those two. Please do something about that. We're number
Thank you.
49 in the country in spending on people with disabilities.
Thank you. Anybody wants to respond to her?
Tell me your name again.
Irie Diaz, Advocacy Network on
Okay.
Disabilities.
Ms. Diaz, we'll definitely have that meeting, and I think, yes, we'll definitely have it. In fact, didn't we as a legislature pass Disability Awareness Month, if I recall? This past session, I think DeSantis,
We need acceptance, not awareness.
I agree.
Fair, we need acceptance.
Right, there's the whole continuum. So I'm looking forward to meeting with you. Thank you.
I look forward to talking to you as well. All right, so now that we have completed our Q&A session, we thank everyone for your feedback, your input, and we have mentioned our aides and ourselves. So if you need to talk to us, feel free to contact any one of us and also our legislative aide and district aides. I have some important dates on the agenda to share with you. We will be going to Tallahassee next week. We start committee weeks already. Lauren, how you doing? We start committee weeks already. Next week would be our first week. So we have 2 weeks in October, the week of the 6th and the week of the 13th. Also the week of November 3rd and the week of November 17th, the week of December 1st, and also the week of December 8th. So those are the dates that we will be going to Tallahassee for committee weeks. As well, we will start session on January the 13th. So if you have any bill ideas or any appropriation that you want to give to any of us, it's the time to do it is now. It's overdue. And our local bill deadline is noon on Friday, October 17th, 2025. And our next meeting, our organizational meeting, the first public hearing meeting will be on October 27, 2025. And also, I wanted to, bill drafting, we have a deadline for bill drafting. I will not give you this deadline because every single legislator set up their own deadlines. We cannot wait for the last minute. So I'm gonna say it again. If you have any bill, local, not even local bill, if you have any bills that you want any of us to carry, do it now. Don't wait until October because they might tell you no. And also we have a good program for page and messengers where we get kids from our community to go to Tallahassee and see the process. So the deadline for that is October the 24th. So if you have any young men and women who would like to go to Tallahassee and serve as page or messenger, see our aides, also see any of the legislators here. So thank you so much. We truly appreciate you. And before we close out, I would like to acknowledge our executive director and also the deputy executive director, Bob Madison, and Sydney, who is Sydney, raise your hand. This way. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
Rep, you forgot that signing day is supposed to be the 13th of March. We're taking bets on whether that's gonna happen.
Go ahead. I'll let you.
Anything will
Thank
happen.
you.
Yeah.